clarity is the cornerstone of any meaningful success. You don't build $1 million business by accident. It doesn't happen because you kinda want it or because you're working hard. Millions happen when you get radically clear about what you want, why you want it, and how you're going to get there. When you wake up every single day knowing exactly what success looks like, and you've built a path to get there, your actions become intentional. Without clarity, all the hustle in the world won't save you. You'll be busy, but you won't move. Clarity is what turns movement into progress. Here's the truth that most people miss: ambiguity is a dream killer. You cannot afford to be vague about your goals. Saying, "I want to grow my business," is not a goal. Saying, "I want to hit $2M in revenue by December 31st, and that means $167K per month, which requires me to close an average of 20 clients per month," that's clarity. Clarity breaks the goal down to something you can plan for, assign ownership to, and execute on. You can't measure progress toward a fuzzy idea. You can only measure what's been clearly defined. The reason people avoid clarity is simple: it forces accountability. When you say out loud exactly what you want, with numbers, deadlines, and deliverables, there's nowhere to hide. You either hit the mark or you don't. That level of responsibility makes people uncomfortable. But guess what? If you're building something from zero, you don't have time to be comfortable. Clarity doesn't just help, it's non-negotiable. You either lead with clarity or get stuck in chaos. Clarity applies to everything: your vision, your strategy, your team, your calendar. Let's talk vision. If you don't have a compelling vision that's clear and documented, you're going to spin your wheels. A vision isn't just some fluffy statement you write once and forget. It's a living guide for your business. It says where you're going, who you're serving, and what success looks like. A clear vision aligns your team, attracts the right clients, and sets the standard for every decision. Now, strategy. If your strategy is "we're going to work harder and see what happens," you're already losing. Strategy is the roadmap. It says, here's the offer, here's the audience, here's the price point, here's how we sell it, and here's how we fulfill it. Every tactic you use, marketing, hiring, operations, flows from that strategy. But you can't build a strategy if you haven't decided on clear goals. Wanting more clients is not strategy. Deciding you need 100 new clients at $5K each to hit your revenue goal, that's a clear target. Clarity also transforms how you lead your team. When your team knows exactly what's expected of them, they perform better, period. Vague expectations produce vague results. If you say, "just do your best," don't be surprised when you get inconsistent work. But when you say, "your target is 10 sales calls a week, and our close rate should be 40%, now you've created a performance standard. That kind of clarity allows you to coach, correct, and celebrate. It gives your team a scoreboard they can play to win on. Even your calendar needs clarity. Are you spending your time on high-impact tasks, or are you stuck in the weeds because you haven't clarified your role? As you grow, your job should evolve from doing everything to doing only what drives growth. That might mean focusing on vision, building the team, and scaling sales, but you won't know where to focus unless you're clear on what actually moves the needle. Clarity in your calendar isn't just about time management. It's about protecting your energy for what matters most. Clarity also fuels confidence. When you're clear, you stop second guessing every move. You make decisions faster. You communicate more effectively. You walk into rooms and lead with authority, not anxiety. Confidence doesn't come from knowing everything. It comes from being clear about what you do know, what your plan is, and what you're working toward. Here's what's real: people who lack clarity never get to millions. They might grow a little, they might stumble into some success, but they will plateau because scale requires systems, it requires leadership. And both of those are impossible to build without clarity. You can't delegate chaos, you can't hire against an unclear goal, you can't execute a marketing strategy if no one knows who the customer is. Clarity is the connective tissue that holds every part of your business together. So if you're starting from zero, maybe it's just you, maybe you're bootstrapping, maybe you feel overwhelmed, the first move isn't to do more. It's to get clear. What does success look like in 12 months? How will you measure it? What's your exact revenue target, and how many clients or units does that require? What roles do you need to hire to get there? What will you stop doing to make space for what matters? You don't need to have it all figured out, but you do need to be specific. Decide, define, and document. Write it down. Share it with your team. Say it out loud every single day, because clarity isn't a one-time moment. It's a leadership habit. And if you want to go from zero to millions, it starts with choosing clarity over chaos every single time. Hiring is not about filling seats. It's about driving growth. If you want to go from zero to millions, every single person you bring into your company needs to move the business forward. That means hiring for impact, not for convenience. Too many entrepreneurs make hiring decisions out of panic, comfort, or habit. They bring on people they like, people who are available, or people who can take tasks off their plate. But this mindset leads to mediocrity. You don't scale by delegating work randomly. You scale by building a team of high performers who are aligned, accountable, and results-driven. Convenience hiring sounds like this: I just need someone to take this off my hands. Or, she's a family friend and she's available. Or, he's willing to work for less. These hires might feel like quick wins, but they become expensive mistakes. Why? Because they aren't built on intention. They are reactive, not strategic. And when you hire reactively, you create more work for yourself in the long run. You end up managing underperformance, cleaning up mistakes, and constantly resetting expectations. It slows your momentum, drains your energy, and keeps you stuck. Hiring for impact means starting with the end in mind. What is the goal of this role? What does success look like 30, 60, 90 days from now? What metrics will this person be responsible for? If you can't answer those questions, you're not ready to hire. Clarity must come before capacity. You can't expect someone to create results if you haven't defined what those results are, and you can't hold someone accountable to vague expectations. Impact-driven hiring starts with building the role around the business outcome, not the person. The hiring process should feel rigorous. You should have standards. You should be screening for skill, alignment, and attitude. Not just can they do the job, but will they own the outcome? High performers don't just clock in and follow directions. They take ownership. They bring solutions, they raise the bar, and when you hire people like that, they don't add to your workload. They multiply your impact, but you won't attract or retain high performers if you're running a loose, unclear, or casual process. Let's talk about attitude. Skills can be taught. Attitude is foundational. You want people who are coachable, hungry, and aligned with your mission. People who take feedback and get better, not people who defend their mistakes or need hand-holding. Impact players crave growth. They want to win. They want to be on a team that's going somewhere. So your job as a leader is to create a culture where that kind of person thrives. That means having clear goals, regular feedback, and a no-excuses mindset. You don't need more people, you need the right people. Hiring for impact also means you stop tolerating average. You cannot afford to carry people who aren't performing. I don't care how nice they are or how long they've been with you. If they're not contributing to growth, they're holding you back. You're not running a daycare, you're building a company, and that requires tough decisions. Sometimes that means letting people go who can't level up. Sometimes it means admitting that a hire you made wasn't the right fit. That's leadership. You're not always going to get it perfect, but you do need to own it. When you start thinking about hiring as an investment, not a transaction, everything changes. You stop asking, how can I pay less? And start asking, how can this person help us grow faster? Cost-cutting mindset leads to short-term thinking. Growth mindset focuses on ROI. If you're hiring a salesperson, don't think about their salary. Think about their revenue potential. If you're hiring an operator, think about the systems they'll build that allow you to scale. Impact hires generate leverage. They free you up to lead at a higher level. One of the biggest shifts you'll have to make is trusting your team to own results. This isn't about micromanaging or babysitting. It's about setting clear targets, giving people the tools and support to succeed, and holding them accountable. That's what real leadership looks like. It's not about being liked, it's about driving performance. The people you hire need to know what's expected, how they'll be measured, and what success looks like. If they don't know that, they're not set up to win, and that's on you. You also need to be brutally honest during the hiring process. Don't sell the dream if you're still in startup chaos. Be transparent. Tell them the challenges, the pace, the pressure. Let them select out if it's not a fit. The worst thing you can do is pretend everything is polished when it's not. High performers don't need perfect. They need purpose. They need to know their work matters. They need to believe in the mission. That's what keeps them engaged when things get hard. If you're serious about going from zero to millions, you have to treat every hiring decision like it's mission critical, because it is. One great hire can change your entire business. One bad hire can cost you time, energy, and momentum. So slow down, get clear, and choose impact every time. You don't build a world-class company with convenient choices. You build it with intentional ones. If you're not obsessed with metrics, you're not serious about scaling. Growing from zero to millions doesn't happen by accident or by vibes. It happens when you know exactly what's working, what's not, and why. Metrics tell the truth. They strip away the emotion and give you real data to lead from. When you track the right numbers, you stop guessing. You stop operating off assumptions. You make decisions that are grounded in reality, not hope. And hope is not a strategy. Most entrepreneurs avoid metrics because they feel overwhelming or because they don't want to face the facts. But hiding from the numbers doesn't protect you. It blinds you. You can't fix what you don't track. You can't improve what you don't measure. If you want to scale, you need to treat your business like a performance machine. That means knowing your numbers at all times, your revenue, your profit margins, your conversion rates, your client retention, your cost per lead, your churn. These aren't just vanity stats. They are tools that tell you how well your business is functioning. Metrics give you control. When you're tracking everything that matters, you're in the driver's seat. You don't have to wait for surprises. You see issues early, you correct before damage is done. Let's say your revenue drops this month. If you're tracking your funnel metrics, you'll know exactly why. Maybe leads are down, maybe your close rate dropped, maybe your offer needs tweaking. Whatever it is, you can fix it quickly because you have visibility. Without metrics, you'd be flying blind. The most powerful part of metrics is the clarity they create inside your team. When you set clear KPI and measure them consistently, you build a culture of accountability. Everyone knows what success looks like. Everyone knows what's expected of them. No confusion, no drama, no stories, just data. When someone misses a target, the conversation becomes simple. What happened? What's the plan? How do we fix it? You're no longer managing based on personality or potential. You're managing based on performance. Let's be clear, being obsessed with metrics doesn't mean tracking everything. It means tracking the right things. Focus on a few core numbers that directly influence growth. For example, if you're a service business, track your leads' sales conversion rate, average deal size, and retention. That's your growth engine. If those numbers are healthy, your business grows. If they're not, you fix them. Don't get distracted with 20 dashboards you never look at. Start with the metrics that move revenue and profit. Make these numbers part of your rhythm. Review them weekly, build scorecards for every role. When your team knows their metrics are being tracked and reviewed, behavior changes, attention increases, accountability tightens. People don't want to drop the ball when they know it'll be seen. And the best people love it. They want to win. Metrics create transparency, and transparency fuels high performance. There's no hiding behind excuses when the numbers are visible. You either hit the goal or you own the gap. As a leader, your job is to lead with metrics, not just feelings. When someone on your team says things feel slow, you should ask, What does the data say? Feelings are fine, but facts are better. Data gives you leverage. If a team member says they're busy but not producing results, the numbers will reveal the truth. Maybe they're spending time in the wrong areas. Maybe they need better systems. Maybe they aren't the right fit. You won't know until you measure. Metrics also keep you honest with yourself. Entrepreneurs are great at telling themselves stories. We're growing. It's fine. Next month will be better. But if the data shows your sales are flat, your margins are shrinking, or your churn is creeping up, you have a problem, and until you face it, you can't fix it. That's why a CEO who doesn't look at metrics is a liability to their own company. You have to lead from truth, even when it's uncomfortable. One of the biggest shifts you'll experience when you get obsessed with metrics is how fast your business starts to improve, because now you're making smart, aligned decisions. You're optimizing instead of reacting. You're scaling what works and killing what doesn't. Your marketing becomes more effective because you know your cost per acquisition. Your sales become more consistent because you track conversion. Your team performs better because they have targets. Everything tightens, everything sharpens, and don't forget, metrics aren't just for tracking lagging indicators like revenue or profit. You also want to track leading indicators, things that predict future success. For example, daily outbound calls, number of new leads generated, or client satisfaction scores. These are early signals. They show you what's coming. If those start slipping, you don't wait for the end of month numbers to confirm it. You act now. Ultimately, metrics create freedom. They give you the power to lead with confidence, to scale with precision, and to build a business that isn't just surviving, it's thriving. You didn't start your business to stay small. You started it to grow, to lead, and to win. And you can't win if you don't know the score. So set the metrics, track them ruthlessly, and let them guide every decision you make. That's how you go from zero to millions, with clarity, with accountability, and with data that tells you exactly where to go next. Leadership is the make or break factor in going from zero to millions. It's not your product, it's not your marketing, and it's not even your team, it's how you lead. You can have the best ideas, the smartest strategies, and the most talent around you, but if you don't lead with clarity, direction, and accountability, nothing scales. Leadership is your growth accelerator. It's the difference between a business that stays stuck and one that breaks through barriers again and again. What most founders don't realize is that leadership is a skill, not a personality trait. It's not about being loud, charismatic, or likable. It's about being clear, decisive, and consistent. It's about setting the vision, aligning your team, and holding the standard every single day. Leadership isn't about doing more, it's about empowering others to do more. If you're still trying to be the smartest person in every room, if you're making all the decisions and solving every problem, your company isn't growing. It's bottlenecking. You're the ceiling. To scale, you have to step into a new identity. You can't just be the doer anymore. You have to become the leader. That means spending less time in the weeds and more time building the systems, the culture, and the people who will drive growth. That transition is hard. It feels uncomfortable. It forces you to let go of control, but it's the only way to build a business that doesn't depend entirely on you. Leadership creates leverage. It turns your energy into exponential impact through others. Great leaders communicate the mission relentlessly. They don't assume people just get it. They talk about the vision in every meeting. They tie every task back to the bigger goal. They create alignment. When your team understands where the company is going and how their role fits into that journey, they work with purpose, they own their results, but when leadership is vague or inconsistent, people drift. They start making up their own priorities. That's when things break down, not because of bad people, but because of weak leadership. Leadership also means being willing to have the hard conversations. Growth doesn't come from being liked, it comes from being honest. If someone isn't performing, you address it. If something isn't working, you fix it. You don't wait, you don't sugarcoat, you lead. The best teams aren't soft, they are sharp. They give feedback, they challenge each other, they solve problems fast, and that starts with you modeling it. If you avoid conflict or let standards slip, your team will follow your lead. Another key part of leadership is making fast, aligned decisions. Indecision kills momentum. As a leader, your job is not to have all the answers, it's to create clarity. You gather the data, you listen to your team, and then you make the call. The faster you make decisions, the faster your team can execute. And when your team sees that you trust your own judgment, they'll trust it too. Leadership is confidence in motion. It doesn't mean perfection, it means progress. Building a high-performance culture is also your responsibility as a leader. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you intentionally create an environment where excellence is expected, feedback is constant, and results are everything. That means rewarding performance, not effort. That means recognizing wins, but also calling out when things fall short. High-performance teams thrive on standards. They want to know what winning looks like. Your job is to define that and reinforce it daily. Leadership is also about consistency. It's not enough to be fired up on Monday and checked out by Thursday. Your team is always watching. If you're moody, unclear, or reactive, it creates uncertainty. People don't know what to expect. But when you show up every day with purpose, with clarity, and with commitment, it creates stability. That consistency builds trust, and trust is the foundation of great teams. You don't have to be perfect, but you do have to be consistent. As your company grows, your leadership will be tested. There will be chaos, there will be breakdowns, there will be moments when everything feels like it's falling apart. That's normal. What matters is how you respond. Leaders don't panic, they anchor. They bring order to the chaos. They remind the team of the mission. They focus on solutions. Your team will mirror your energy. If you stay grounded and solution-oriented, they will too. But if you spiral, so will everyone else. And let's be clear, leadership doesn't mean doing it alone. The best leaders surround themselves with other leaders. They build a leadership team that can own departments, drive initiatives, and develop others. That's how you scale, not by adding more followers, but by creating more leaders. If you want to grow fast, invest time into mentoring your managers. Teach them how to set goals, give feedback, and lead meetings. Teach them how to think like you. That's how you multiply your leadership capacity. Leadership is the heartbeat of scale. It's what turns vision into execution. It's what drives culture, performance, and momentum. You don't need to be the loudest voice in the room. You need to be the clearest. You need to be the most focused, the most committed. Your people don't need a cheerleader. They need a leader who will guide them, push them, and grow them. That's how you build a business that lasts. From 0 to millions, your leadership will be the difference, not just in what you build, but in who you become. Lead yourself, lead your team, lead with vision, discipline, and fire, and watch everything else rise. Speed is a competitive advantage. If you want to go from 0 to millions, you need to move fast, faster than your comfort zone, faster than your fears, faster than your competition. Speed over perfection is not just a mindset, it's a growth strategy. Waiting until things are perfect means waiting too long. In business, momentum matters more than flawless execution. You'll never scale if you're paralyzed by the need to get everything just right. That's not how winners operate. Winners move, test, adapt, and repeat. Perfection is a trap. It gives the illusion of productivity while keeping you stuck. You can spend weeks tweaking a website, editing a presentation, or reworking a pitch deck, but if it's not in front of your customer, it's not helping your business grow. Perfectionists love to polish, but growth requires action. You need feedback, you need results, and you don't get those from inside your head. You get them by shipping, launching, trying, and failing. Every delay is a missed opportunity to learn, to iterate, and to improve. Speed creates clarity. You learn more by doing than by planning. When you move fast, you get real data. What's working, what's not, where the bottlenecks are. That's when your decisions start to sharpen. You don't need a perfect product. You need a product that solves a problem. You don't need a flawless sales script. You need to start selling and refine it with every call. Execution reveals the path, thinking only takes you so far. Action is the ultimate teacher. One of the most dangerous habits entrepreneurs fall into is overpreparing. You tell yourself you're being strategic, but really you're avoiding risk. You're afraid of looking sloppy, of being judged, of making mistakes. But growth doesn't happen in the comfort zone. Growth comes from taking bold, imperfect action and being willing to fix it on the fly. High achievers don't fear failure, they use it. They know every setback holds a lesson. Every missed target shows you where to focus next, but none of that happens unless you move. Speed doesn't mean carelessness, it means decisiveness. It means cutting out the noise and focusing on what actually drives results. You don't need more opinions, more meetings, or more revisions. You need decisions, fast ones. Every hour you hesitate is an hour your competition could launch first, close a client, or own a space that should have been yours. In fast-growing companies, speed is culture. The people who win are the ones who move. They don't wait for permission. They take initiative and execute with urgency. As a leader, you need to model speed. If your team sees you stuck in perfectionism, they will follow your lead. But if they see you making quick decisions, testing ideas, and adjusting based on results, they will operate with that same pace. Momentum is contagious, so is hesitation. You want your team running fast, making progress, and constantly iterating toward better outcomes. That energy starts with you. Slow leaders build slow teams. Fast leaders build momentum machines. Speed also reveals who's ready and who's not. When you move fast, you expose gaps in your systems, in your talent, in your leadership. That's a good thing. You want to see what breaks early so you can fix it. You want to know who can handle the pace and who's holding things back. Speed brings truth to the surface. Perfection hides problems. If your growth depends on everything being tidy and controlled, you're not building something that can scale. Scaling is messy. You need to be okay with that. Let's be real. You're going to make mistakes. Things will break. Clients will complain. You'll miss deadlines. That's part of building. But every misstep is a chance to improve, to systemize, to grow. The only real failure is waiting too long to act. While you're sitting in perfectionism, someone else is out there learning, testing, and improving faster than you. By the time you're ready to launch, they've already taken the market. You don't win by being the best. You win by being the fastest to improve. Speed also gives you confidence. The more you take action, the more you realize that you can handle whatever happens. You stop fearing failure because you know how to recover. You stop needing certainty because you trust your ability to figure things out. That's what creates resilient leadership. The confidence that comes from action compounds over time. The more you do, the more momentum you create. And momentum is what takes you from zero to millions. You need to ask yourself, where am I slowing down when I should be speeding up? What decisions am I avoiding? What projects am I over-perfecting? What emails am I rewriting for the third time? Those are the friction points that are costing you growth. Cut them, ship it, send it, move. Speed doesn't mean being reckless. It means being relentless. Relentless in execution, relentless in learning, relentless in pursuit of the next win. Done is better than perfect. Progress beats polish. Fast decisions build real businesses. You can fix it later. You can optimize once it's live. You can improve based on feedback, but none of that happens if you're sitting on an idea waiting for it to feel ready. Stop waiting, move, build, break, learn, grow. That's how you scale. That's how you win. Speed over perfection every single time.